Blessings, family. I'm your brother in the struggle, Ali. Today we're going to decipher the history of Sir John Hawkins, the misinterpretation about it, if you will. As a student follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in general, and a minister of the Messenger's message in particular, I remember it was a while ago. It was like 30-something years ago. In fact, this was like 1985. Around 1985, we used to do a weekly broadcast with AM radio in Philadelphia. They had a station that basically was like trying to support the conscious community, if you will. And one of the subjects that I recall was, the history of Sir John Hawkins. Did the Nation of Islam get it right? And they basically was like critiquing Messenger Elijah Muhammad, because he basically explained to us in his first book in 1957 in the Supreme Wisdom, he explained to us that we were kidnapped by Sir John Hawkins in 1555. And that has been a staple of the Nation of Islam's theology for, ever since it began, since the 1930s. The problem with it, according to the scholars and the historians and the pseudoscientists, if you will, is that Sir John Hawkins did not come to the wilderness of North America in 1555. Okay, so in doing the research or doing the math on it, my position was basically like, even if I didn't understand it, I knew the messenger was right. So I was riding with Master Muhammad, the messenger, regardless of whom or what. But in doing the math and doing the research, I basically came to find, and this is just a short version because I never even published the book, but I got it somewhere in the files. But I basically, took the premise of Sir John Hawkins' history, like as it's generally known. The Library of Congress, what is it that the historians say? What do they teach in college about Sir John Hawkins and his cousin, Sir Francis Drake, for that matter, and the Jesus Lebec and all that kind of stuff? So I did the knowledge on it. And doing the knowledge on it, then you want to, the message teacher's knowledge is to listen, know, and observe. Knowledge is foundation. So I did the science, I observed, I studied, I researched. Wisdom, the message teaches us to make your knowledge known. Say, okay, now my thing was, okay, now let me look at everything the messenger teaches us about Sir John Hawkins, about 1619, about 1555. What do the other black scholars have to say about this? What do our black conscious historians have to say about the transatlantic slave trade in the 1300s, the 1400s, the 1200s? 1,000 years ago, what was slavery like in ancient Kemet or ancient Egypt? What was slavery like for black, brown, yellow, red, and white people in ancient Rome and Greece and things of that nature there? So I did the research on the stuff. And long story short, we come to find out why there's so much misunderstanding about Sir John Hawkins, and why the historians think the messenger is wrong when the messenger was actually right and exact as always. Basically, Sir John Hawkins was the junior. The father was the senior. Like in the slave world, I'm the junior. My dad got the same name, so people could confuse the two. It overlaps, especially when both men are living in the same time frame. It happens. But one of the things that I did was I used the principle that I learned from black law school and doing the research on history. First, I learned that history is not a science. That's the first thing you gotta understand. History is not science. So just because you find something from a long time ago don't mean that which was written a long time ago is correct. People wrote stuff about the messenger back in the 30s that was wrong. They had the Nation of Islam as the voodoo cult. It was wrong back then. So you read, the Nation of Islam is really the voodoo cult. Come on. So in doing that type of mathematics and doing that type of research, you get to what our lessons 12 Jews teaches us is understanding. Understanding is a picture one makes in his or her mind of knowledge. So Sir John Hawkins in 1555, you have to understand slavery was illegal. The rich, the 10%, the slave makers of the poor, they didn't want Sir John Hawkins, his cousin Sir Francis Drake, or pirates or other people kidnapping black, brown, yellow, and red people, because that was money. And if you're a king or you're a queen and you have individuals running around kidnapping Africans, taking them to the New World, and they ain't paying no taxes, if they kidnap 200, they going to write down in their manifesto, in that document, that they kidnapped 42 so that they can pay lower taxes. So you can't look at the historical documents as being accurate, because pirates or slave catchers going to lie, because they're not trying to pay the full price. Now, I mean, it's like in this day and time, people getting a lot of money, they don't really be honest in filing their taxes. So when the crown wanted them to pay taxes, they would cheat. They would hide slaves. And the water police, you know what I mean, they see some of these ships and they would literally blow them up. They would actually free some of the slaves, send them back home, because they knew that they wasn't paying no taxes on that stolen property. You know what I mean? So, you know, I seen Sir John Hawkins, his original ancient portrait. Most of the pictures that we have, that's the wrong picture. Now, I mean, we got his coat of arms, or his real picture, his actual handwriting, his actual 1555 documentations, and his own penmanship. I seen that, his own diaries, his own ship manifesto and stuff about slaves and things of that nature there. You know what I mean? And the reason why some historians are not aware that Sir John Hawkins was kidnapping blacks like that is because Sir John Hawkins had to pay a tax on those slaves that he was kidnapping, and he didn't report it, or he didn't want to report it because, or he underreported it because he had to pay money. It all boils down to capitalism. It's all about the dollar and nonsense. Peace and blessings, family. I'm your brother in the struggle. I'll leave. The struggle continues.